I was standing over a dead body in a small American town, and within hours, the entire town had decided I was the killer. I didn't commit the murder, but the one who did was so quiet, so trusted, that telling the truth became a crime. This is the story of the night I learned small towns don't scream. They bury the truth. I was standing over a body when the sirens started. That's the image everyone in Black Hollow remembers. The school librarian frozen in a pool of blood, hands shaking, eyes wide like a cornered animal. They don't remember that I was screaming his name. They don't remember that I was begging him to breathe. They only remember that I was there. The snow outside the old Miller farmhouse reflected the red and blue lights like broken glass. I could hear the crunch of boots on ice before I saw the sheriff's face harden. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask if I was hurt. He just said, "Step away from the body, Emma." I did as I was told, my palms slick with someone else's blood. Daniel Carter, 42 years old, beloved high school English teacher, married, no kids, the kind of man people described as harmless. And now he was dead on his living room floor, throat cut so deep it looked unreal, like a special effect gone wrong. I was the one who found him, that part was true. 3 hours earlier, Black Hollow was quiet in the way only small American towns ever are too quiet, like it's holding its breath. I'd closed the library early because the heating system was acting up again, and the mayor's budget cuts had turned repairs into a bad joke. Daniel had texted me around 6, "Can you stop by? I need to talk." It's important, we weren't close, not really. We'd worked on a literacy fundraiser together, that was it. But his message had a tone that made my stomach tighten. Important always means something is already wrong. I told myself I was just being neighborly. That was mistake number one. The Miller farmhouse sat on the edge of town, halves, wallowed by pine trees and old rumors. I parked my car on the gravel driveway and noticed the front door was already open. Mistake number two was going inside. "Daniel." I called out, no answer. The house smelled like copper and cold air. My boots stuck slightly to the floor as I stepped into the living room. That's when I saw him. I remember thinking my brain had made a mistake, that it was a mannequin or a shadow arranged the wrong way. Daniel's eyes were open, staring at nothing, his mouth half, formed around a word he never got to finish. I dropped my bag and knelt beside him, pressing my fingers to his neck even though I already knew. Dead people feel different. Heavy, final. I screamed, I cried. I did everything innocent people do. And then I made the worst mistake of all. I touched the knife. Now I sat in the back of a patrol car, wrapped in a blanket that smelled like cheap detergent, watching my life dissolve through a fogged-up window. Sheriff Bill Hargreaves stood near the farmhouse, his broad shoulders blocking the view of the body. He'd known me since I was 14. He used to buy library raffle tickets from me every year. Not tonight. Tonight, his eyes slid away from mine like I was already something unpleasant. Deputy Marla Finch leaned into the open door. "Emma, we need you to come down to the station. Just routine." Routine, that's what they always call it when nothing about it is. "Am I under arrest?" I asked. Marla hesitated, just long enough. "No," she said. "Not yet." The Black Hollow police station smelled like burnt coffee and old paperwork. They took my phone, they took my coat, they took my statement and then took it again, slower this time, like repetition might change the truth. "Why did Daniel text you?" Sheriff Hargreave asked. "I don't know. Had you been seeing him?" "No." "Any problems with him?" "No." His pen scratched against the paper. "Anyone know you were going out there tonight?" I thought of the empty apartment waiting for me. The unanswered voicemail from my sister 2 states away. The fact that no one ever really notices a librarian's schedule. "No," I said. That's when I knew I was in trouble. By morning, the story had already been written, just not by me. Local woman discovers murdered teacher. Last person to see him alive. Someone leaked that I'd touched the weapon. Someone mentioned I was shaken and confused. Someone said I'd been uncooperative. Black Hollow likes simple stories. Monsters, victims, clear lines. I didn't fit anywhere except the worst place. When they finally let me go, the town felt different. Doors closed faster. Conversations stopped when I walked past. At the diner, my usual booth was suddenly reserved. I stood in my apartment that night, staring at my reflection, trying to understand how a quiet life could crack so loudly. I hadn't killed Daniel Carter, but someone had made damn sure it looked like I might have. And whoever that was knew this town better than I ever did. The first person who stopped talking when I walked into the diner was Patty Lou. That might not mean much to outsiders, but in Black Hollow it was seismic. Patty Lou ran the diner the way a priest runs confession. Everyone told her everything. If she went quiet, it meant the town had already decided what I was. I stood there for a moment, coat still on, cold clinging to me like a second skin. The bell above the door kept ringing softly, as if urging me to leave before things got worse. No one looked at me directly. Forks paused midair. Coffee cups hovered inches from lips. I turned around and walked back out. That was how day one of my unofficial exile began. By noon, Sheriff Hargreave called, "Emma, we need you to come back in." I stared at my phone, my thumb hovering. "You said I wasn't under arrest." "You're not," he said. "We just have a few more questions." There's always a few more questions when they're trying to make the pieces fit you instead of the truth. The station felt colder than before, less fluorescent, more surgical. Deputy Marla Finch avoided my eyes as she led me into interview room B. Same chair, same table, same faint stain on the floor that everyone pretended not to notice. Sheriff Hargreave closed the door behind him. "We found your fingerprints on the knife," he said without preamble. My chest tightened. "I told you I touched it. I panicked." He nodded slowly, like a man humoring a child. "We also found traces of Daniel's blood on your coat sleeve." "Of course you did." I knelt beside him, and he continued, flipping a page in the file. "Your phone shows you were the last person he contacted." "That doesn't make me a killer." "No," he agreed, "but it doesn't make you innocent either." That was new. Or maybe it wasn't, and I was only just hearing it. "Did Daniel ever threaten you?" he asked. "No." "Did you argue?" "No." "Did you know he was planning to leave town?" I froze. "What?" Hargreave watched me carefully now. Daniel had applied for a teaching position in Oregon. He planned to resign at the end of the semester. I didn't know that. "Strange," he said. According to his emails, he'd been confiding in someone he trusted. My heart started pounding. "Who?" He didn't answer. He just closed the file. "You can go for now," he said. "Don't leave town." Outside, the sky was low and gray, like it was pressing down on Black Hollow out of sheer curiosity. I didn't drive home. I drove aimlessly, passing familiar landmarks that suddenly felt staged, artificial, like I'd stepped into a set built to look like my life. At a red light near the high school, I saw Daniel's face staring back at me from a laminated memorial poster. Beloved teacher, taken too soon. I wondered who had decided to omit and possibly murdered by the town librarian. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his throat, the impossible amount of blood. The way his fingers were curled, like he'd tried to grab something that wasn't there. At 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. "Unknown number, you shouldn't have gone to the house." My breath caught. I typed back with shaking fingers. "Me, who is this?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Unknown number. Daniel trusted the wrong person. So did you." I stared at the screen until it went dark. I didn't show the message to the police. That was mistake number 4. The next morning, my sister called. "What is happening?" she demanded. "My coworker sent me a link. Emma, they're calling you a person of interest." "I know." "Did you do it?" "No." A pause. "Too long. I believe you," she said finally, "but you need a lawyer." I laughed, sharp and humorless. "With what money?" "Then you need answers," she said, "and this town isn't going to give them to you." She was right. So I started asking my own questions. Daniel Carter's life, it turned out, was less harmless than everyone thought. At the library, I pulled archived newspapers and old yearbooks, my hands steady only because panic had nowhere left to go. Daniel had arrived in Black Hollow 11 years ago. No scandals, no disciplinary actions, but there were gaps. 3 years ago, a senior named Luke Marin had transferred out mid-semester. Official reason, family relocation. Unofficial rumor, inappropriate relationship, accusations that went nowhere. Luke's name showed up again in Daniel's emails, an unsent draft recovered from his laptop. I can't keep pretending it didn't happen. I need to tell someone I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Before I could dig deeper, the librarian assistant, Janice, cleared her throat behind me. You're not supposed to be here, she said, eyes darting toward the front desk. I work here. She shook her head. Not right now. I saw it then, the fear, not of me, but of being seen talking to me. As I packed my bag, a folded piece of paper slipped into my hand. Janice whispered, check the yearbooks, faculty signatures. Then she walked away like we'd never spoken. That afternoon, Sheriff Hargreave held a press briefing. I watched it online, my name never spoken but always implied. We're making progress, he said. The victim's personal life is under review. We asked the public to remain calm. Remain calm. While my face was already being mentally printed on a wanted poster, another message buzzed in. Unknown number, you're looking in the wrong place. Me, then tell me where to look. This time, the reply came immediately. Unknown number, ask who benefited from Daniel's silence. By evening, I had my answer. Daniel hadn't been planning to leave Black Hollow for a fresh start. He'd been running from something that was finally catching up to him. And someone, quiet, forgettable, hiding in plain sight, had decided it was better if Daniel never spoke at all. I sat alone in my apartment, walls closing in, realization settling like a weight on my chest. This wasn't just about proving my innocence anymore. This was about surviving a town that had already chosen its truth, and finding the real killer before they decided I was easier to erase than the secret Daniel died for. I finally understood why Daniel Carter had looked surprised when he died. Not afraid, not angry, surprised. The answer wasn't in the past 3 years. It was in 11. I sat on the floor of my apartment. Yearbooks spread around me like evidence at a crime scene. Janice had been right. Faculty signatures told a story no one bothered to read. Most teachers signed with sloppy encouragement. Good luck, stay in touch, don't forget us. One name appeared in every single yearbook. Every year Daniel had worked at Black Hollow High. Ruth Caldwell, proud of you. No subject, no inside joke, no variation. Ruth Caldwell wasn't a teacher, she was the school counselor. Quiet, polite, invisible in the way people over 45 become invisible in small towns. Present, dependable, and never questioned. I remembered her now, the way she'd sit in the back at town meetings, the way she always volunteered for background tasks, the way she had attended Daniel's memorial but left before the speeches. The quiet ones always watch. I drove to the high school after dark. It was illegal, it was reckless, it was the only move left. The side door by the counseling wing still had the faulty lock. Budget cuts again. Inside, the hallway smelled like floor cleaner and old paper. My footsteps echoed too loudly. Ruth's office was untouched by time. Same faded motivational posters, same neatly aligned file cabinets. I found what Daniel had been sorry for. Luke Marin hadn't been his only secret. There were 5 names, 5 students over 8 years, confidential counseling notes altered, reports buried, parents redirected, careers protected. Daniel hadn't been the predator, he'd been the accomplice. Ruth Caldwell had been grooming victims for years, shaping stories, silencing complaints, deciding who would be believed and who would be labeled troubled. Daniel had helped her once, then twice, then he'd tried to stop. That's when she killed him. You shouldn't be here, Emma. Her voice came from the doorway, calm, disappointed, like I'd returned a book late. Ruth held my phone. I took it from your apartment, she said. You really should lock your door. My pulse roared in my ears. You framed me. I corrected a narrative. She replied, you were. Convenient. She stepped inside, closing the door behind her. Daniel panicked. She continued. He wanted to confess. He wanted to protect them. Her mouth tightened. That kind of sentimentality destroys lives. You killed him. I said. I protected a system. She corrected. This town needs stability. People like us maintain it. People like us. Regular, overlooked, trusted. The police arrived because I finally did one thing right. I'd hit record. Janice's folded note had been more than advice. It had been warning. Ruth had been watching everyone, but Janice had been watching her. When Ruth realized my phone was live, streaming audio to my sister's cloud account, something broke in her eyes. She lunged, I ran. The chase was short. Ruth wasn't built for it. The sirens came fast, too fast for coincidence. Sheriff Hargreave burst in, gun raised. Ruth, he said, stunned, put the knife down. She did, because she knew when the story was over. The truth came out slowly, painfully. Black Hollow resisted it at first. Towns always do, but evidence doesn't care about comfort. The counseling files, the altered reports, the recording. My name was cleared. Officially, unofficially, scars linger. People apologized without meeting my eyes. Patty Lou brought me pie and called it on the house. The library board reinstated me with a vote that was technically unanimous and emotionally divided. Justice doesn't heal everything. It just stops the bleeding. Daniel Carter was buried on a quiet Sunday. I stood at the back of the crowd, wind cutting through my coat, and wondered how many people mourned the man he was, and how many mourned the secret he took to the grave. Ruth Caldwell received life without parole, no dramatic confession, no tears, just silence. Sometimes, late at night, Black Hollow feels normal again, but now I understand something I didn't before. Monsters don't roar. They organize files, they smile politely, they wait, and when a town chooses comfort over truth, someone always pays the price. This time, it almost was me. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.